So you see these gadget cards here, you may or may not have heard of how incredibly strong they are in Back for Blood with the Children of the Worm update. So let's just go into that a little bit and see what kind of things you can do with them. So if you don't know how these work, go ahead and take a peek. They replace a slot in your inventory. So either support, offense, or utility. And then you can use that slot basically as an ability rather than using a defib or using a grenade. Okay? Makes sense? So let's talk about some of the things you can do because they're kind of crazy. And we'll start with what is arguably one of the most crazy ones right now, which is Expired T5. So if you don't know what Expired T5 does, it creates a cloud that does 8 fire damage, 2 weak spots every second. So you can look at 8 damage and you're like, okay, who cares? It's 8 damage. But when you factor in all the different things that this card works with, I have a little deck over here to show just some of the things it can work with. Then you go, oh, wow, this card gets really strong. So since Expired T5 does fire damage, it can benefit from Pyro, meaning you can get temporary health every single time you kill something with Expired T5. Also, since it does weak spot stuff, it works with a weak spot damage. So hyper focus, reckless strategy. I guess now I'll just power just so I can show you numbers here in a bit. Go ahead with it. Oh, it costs 50 rifle ammo, by the way. Oh, big deal. Because you can just go ahead and put ammo meal and ammo belt in your deck. Oh, and on your mark too, since you're going to have insane amounts of ammo capacity. But you know what the kicker is at this card? What makes it even more nuts is you see all these precision kill cards? Pep in your step, sadistic, in the zone, trigger control, which by the way, increase your reload speed, increase your weak spot damage, increase your accuracy, heck, your move speed. Also, it works with Jim. You don't know what Jim does? Take a look real quick. Jim can get up to 25% extra damage if he gets precision kills. And since this works with precision kills, let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like. So take a peek on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll see the gadget over there. If I press the 4 button, I'll use up 50 rifle ammo, and then I will also use Expired T5. And actually, let's go ahead real quick. I'm going to reload all regular like with this RPK. And now that you got an idea what that looks like, let's just go have some fun here. That's Expired T5 just working and destroying everything around me. And you can see I'm getting massive stacks of stuff all around me here. And let me reload real quick. But bam, much faster than it was before because I have all these things that we're stacking. I'm doing 70 ammo to one of these dudes. And then you just become so strong because now Jim's stacked out of his mind, right? And I don't know if you noticed, but this only has a 25-second cooldown. So if I want to, as soon as I'm ready, I can just go run on over there again and start murdering everything again because it's a cloud that follows me. So let's try it again. Hello, everyone. Sploosh. I don't even have to be that careful. So, as you can imagine, Expired T5 is nuts. Since it's kind of hard to tell because there's so many icons, but it lasts, I don't know, for around 10 seconds. And since it's only a 25-second cooldown, that means if 3 people on your team are running this, you can basically chain Expired T5 all the way through the entire level. It's a very, very, very strong card that murders almost everything. It's not going to murder a sleeper, and I don't think it's going to murder a fire-ridden or a charred-ridden, but everything else, yeah, it's just going to die right in front of you. So, let's move on to the next card. Expired T5 is busted as hell right now. And now something to keep in mind here, I have this deck of cards here. This doesn't necessarily mean you should run this as a deck. You do what you want. I just wanted to showcase some cards that work with it, okay? Now, let's continue on with our showcase here. And what's super interesting with Expired T5 is how strong it is in comparison to its buddy here, Experimental Stimulants. The reason why I say it's buddy is because it also uses up the support slot. Now, this creates a cloud that grants 15% damage and 25% reload speed. The thing about this card is Expired T5 does all of that because you can just use other cards. We can go way higher than 25% reload speed, way higher than 50% damage. One, because Expired T5 does a lot of damage, but also Gym stacks. You can just completely outdo everything this card is doing just because Expired T5 works with everything so well. And since Expired T5 lasts for a long time, it just keeps working. So, Experimental Stimulants, sorry, buddy, but your brother's a lot cooler than you are. That being said, your team is going to do more damage as a whole if everybody used this together instead of Expired T5, because only one person's getting all the benefits of Expired T5, right? But still, it doesn't compare in comparison to what this thing's doing right now. But just so you can go ahead and see what it looks like, 1, 2, 3, bam. Makes a poofy cloud. Anybody that walks in this stink gets ahead. A little bit better reload speed, right? And a little bit more damage. Now, something to keep in mind with these gadget cards is they do have similarities among the slots. So we just did Experimental Stimulants and Expired T5. And you may have noticed they both had about a 25-second cooldown. Now, each slot has about the same cooldown, right? So on the ones that take up the offensive slots, those have about a 1-second cooldown. And then for the quick slots, they have about a 2-second cooldown. And then these bad boys have the 25-second cooldown. Now, we're going to get to the quick slot ones because I think people are kind of sleeping on them, and they're actually really good. But something I want to talk about first here is the offensive slot cards that use light ammo. So we have Crippling Frequency and Ultrasonic Wound Therapy. Let me get out of the way here so you can see them. And Ultrasonic Wound Therapy heals 1 health per second over 7 seconds to nearby teammates. And then Crippling Frequency reduces damage by 2 for nearby teammates for 7 seconds. So something to know about each one of these cards is that Crippling Frequency is a flat damage reduction. It is not 2%, it is just 2, okay? So that means a lot when you're dealing with something like common. It doesn't mean a whole lot if you're dealing with something like a monstrous tall boy, okay? Because monstrous tall boys on no hope, they do like 90-something damage. So if you take 2 damage off of that, who cares? But if you have a Ridden that does 7 damage and you're taking 2 away from that, well, that's a huge percentage of that damage. Does that make sense? Now, something else I want to show you here is you see how I have both of these cards equipped? Well, if you have 2 cards that take up an offensive slot, then they will both be used at the same time. So I'm going to go into a game and you'll see that it'll say like 70 ammo instead of 40 or 30 because it's adding both of these together. Now, something to know about Ultrasonic Wound Therapy here, it heals over time. It is the only card in the game right now that I am aware of that heals over time and benefits from healing efficiency. So this is a really good opportunity to use cards like EMT Bag or take advantage of what Doc has going on or to stack stuff as a team, such as Well Rested over here, which increases overheal, and then also a little bit of Medical Expert to increase team healing efficiency. I've heard rumors that people think that Charitable Soul works with it. Pretty sure it doesn't, so I wouldn't try it. And on the topic, now that I think of it, of cards that just give you a flat damage resistance, Scar Tissue here, take 1 less damage from all Ridden, but now it says 50% acid resistance. Pretty sure it's always been that way, and it just wasn't listed on the card, so don't get too excited about that. But it is pretty neat to know that maybe we could just go ahead and stand in the acid if we're using Crippling Frequency. And now apparently Bravado works with healing efficiency now, because I guess the whole trauma damage thing is affected by healing efficiency now, which, oh boy, I don't... Oh boy. So go ahead and maybe play with Bravado a little bit and see how that card feels. But let's go into a match here so you can see what these cards do. Oh, and something I should clarify is when I was doing the expired T5 stuff, I was on no hope and stuff was just melting. So I'll do it on no hope again here for the healing cards too. So one neat trick that you can do with Ultrasonic Wound Therapy here, as you can see, it heals you. Since I have Overheal attached right now, I can go ahead and use this card, and I actually build up temporary HP while I'm in the safe room. And temp HP either doesn't fall off at all, or it falls off at such a small rate that it basically doesn't matter. So you can juice up your team a little bit before you go into the match. And you went ahead and you saw that it's supposed to be about, what, 1 health per second over 7 seconds? So I'm supposed to heal about 7 HP. But since I have so much healing efficiency on, you'll see I'm going to blow past that 7 number. And this is all going through Overheal right now, so I'm pretty sure our Overheal can't be 100%. So we're actually even at a lower amount than we actually will be getting with actual HP. So this card's really good. Now, if I were to go ahead and try to take some damage around here, I'm kind of curious. So if I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to try to keep pumping this card, and what you'll see is I'm actually probably going to out-heal everything. I'm going to stand in acid. I'm not taking damage. I'm actually healing right now. Just going to go stand in some more acid. Who cares? This card's amazing. This is no hope acid, by the way. Now, I am pumping through ammo pretty quickly here, and I probably should have bought some more before we started this here. But you can see we're all just like juiced out of our minds right now. Here, hit me, big boy. Yeah, big boy! Yeah, see, like, they can't even touch me right now. So, instance number 2 of these gadgets being really strong. Go ahead and have fun with them. Now, I'm already out of ammo, so I would recommend running an ammo build or having somebody on your team who's maybe running ammo stash and then has their SMG ammo be like food for you as the healer. But man, it's so good. It's so good. And then since we have jacked up healing efficiency, I can just go ahead and do stuff like this and get a nice chunk of HP off of a white bandage. So now let's talk sleeper picks, because I think people are snoozing on Experimental Stun Gun and this AI Assistant module. Reason why people are snoozing on AI Assistant module is because it's not working the way it's supposed to. And then Experimental Stun Gun, I think people are spooked off by the fragile thing. So let's talk about how these cards work. So Experimental Stun Gun, what it does is it enhances your bash to stun nearby enemies. And it refreshes after 10 seconds. So basically you use the card and then you're charged up. And then if you punch something, that thing's going to get zapped and everything around it. And then it takes 10 seconds for your hand to recover, basically. You don't have to reuse the ability. You just have to wait for the cooldown to go down, basically. Okay? The only time you have to reuse this ability is if you get hit, because it's the fragile effect. What fragile does is it removes the effect from your character. Okay? So, I'll show you what that looks like in a match. Now, AI Assistant module here. So, AI Assistant module. 5% item reuse chance that increases by 10% after every item used. Resets on reuse. I don't think it's currently resetting on reuse. So that means that if you get a few fails in, you can get yourself a really high reuse percentage that you can just basically keep because it's not actually getting reset on reuse. So as long as you're not taking damage, this card's nuts. So something you could do in my mind is if you were to fail like 4 times with some crap item, and then you pick up the golden bandage, the legendary bandage, and then you sit in the spawn with group therapy, you could probably just pulse out infinite heals. I think that would work. I don't know. I haven't tested it, but I'm guessing that would work. I'm going to go ahead and put some reuse chance in my deck with Magician's Apprentice. And then we could also play Hang if we wanted to. And let's just have some fun and see what's going on. But you know, now that I think about it before we forget, something we should consider is that Stealthy Passage also disables your quick slot. So if you're going to disable it anyway, which by the way, Experimental Stun Gun's probably my favorite gadget out of all of these because it's so good. May as well throw Stealthy Passage in your deck so you can farm copper for your team, and then also you don't have to worry about things like alarm doors, so it makes it much easier to get objectives done, such as Silence is Golden. So toss that bad boy in there and get yourself some goodies. So we have Hang here. I'm going to go ahead and just try to use up a bunch of items. So I'm going to press my ammo thing here, and you'll see 2 different abilities just activated. One of them is the reuse one that looks like a little patch gadget cell thing. And then the other one, which is kind of covered by subtitles, is that little lightning bolt. The lightning bolt is the bash one. And you need to make contact with something in order for it to actually work. But let me go ahead and just see if I can get this reuse thing going here. So ta-da, there goes one. And then I'm just going to, I don't know, buy something cheap and try to get a really, really easy thing going here. So I'm just going to go and buy some flashbangs and just keep tossing here. Well, there's a reuse. Now, the crazy part about this, though, here, I'll just alternate these a little bit so it's easy to pick up and throw, is that, again, I don't, yeah, here we go. Yeah. There it goes. It's not really resetting. You see what I mean? And I think it's only going to happen. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's super busted. Yeah, it's busted. All right. So every single time I actually fail, I think my reuse chance goes up a little bit. But you'll see, it's not making any sense. Yeah. Look at how many times I've just used these items here. And now we'll reach a point where we have the big boy and we just kind of keep that really good item going. I wish you could see how many stacks you had, but yeah, there, I think we're pretty well set right now. I don't know how many pipe bombs I just threw, but it's a lot. So the caveat with this card is that you need to not be taking damage, but it's just doing some absolutely insane things with reuse chance right now. So I don't know if it's that it's like not erasing your stacks, but it's definitely doing something weird where you're getting a much better reuse chance than you're supposed to out of it. So I don't know, man. Have fun with it. Let's talk about zapping people. So take a look at the bottom of the screen. I walk up to this guy and I go blam, and everybody around him gets zapped. And now it turns red for a little bit. So once it's not red anymore, I can walk up to something and zap it again. Reason why this card is so good is because of things like tall boys and bruisers. Like if you're trying to hold up in a doorway, you have 2 people on your team. One's running expired T5, one's running the stun gun, and basically nothing's getting to you because you're the stunner on the big boys that would live through the expired T5, and the expired T5 is just murdering everything else. Now, oh, actually a bug with this is I'm pretty sure it doesn't work on slashers. Oh, no, it's working. Okay, it wasn't working on slashers when I was playing a couple days ago, so never mind. Maybe it's not a bug. Maybe I just had a bugged room. But go ahead and have fun with it. Now, you're not going to go ahead and lose this stuff to Fragile if you are taking damage from Toxic Spill, or even I think some environmental stuff like Fire might not even make it fall off. I think I'm supposed to, but it wasn't falling off for me when I was playing a couple days ago. So this, again, this bash card is so good because it just stuns everything around you. Get really, really used to using this against mutations. It will save so many runs for you. You can have a 3-person punch. One's the healer, one's the expired T5er, and one is the stunner, and you basically walk through the entire game. Super easy peasy. I encourage you to have fun with these cards because they're a blast, man. Like, look at this. Everything around me just got effed up. And then those moments where everything's stunned like that, that buys so much time for your team to capitalize. Like, I kind of wish we had a tall boy in here so I could show you, like, you just walk up to the tall boy, punch it, and then get on the other side of it and blast his weak spot. It's so easy. Don't sleep on these quick slot cards. They are very strong. Like, I think the part that kind of freaks people out is the fragile part, but keep in mind, since you're basically stunning everything around you, you're taking so much less damage. And I've only spent ammo once because I haven't taken damage yet. So this is also a really not that demanding card on your ammo compared to the other ammo cards. And if you're wondering about the duffel bags thing, they're being fixed in a way to front load them with cards. So if you haven't really been getting any luck getting cards, that is going to be fixed. And then you'll have a much easier time when you pick up a duffel bag, because that's how you unlock these new cards, is by unlocking them with the duffel bags. So thank you guys for being here. Hope you had fun with it. I encourage you to try some new things. Let me know what you've been doing with your builds and your synergies. Sorry I didn't give you like a really strong build in here for any one of these, but I hope that just by showing you some of the things that they can be good with, you can make it work with your own play style. Okay? So thank you guys. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next video that we do around here.